Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Liquid Red versus Wacomm here on Steps of War. Wacomm spawning as the blue Terran player on the north side of the map, meanwhile Liquid Red spawning on the south side of the map as the red Zerg. Now, I know a lot of you guys have recently told me that YouTube has removed their 15-minute limit cap, but I do not think I will be trying to release games much longer than 15 minutes or videos much longer than 15 minutes just because I sometimes need a little bit of a break, get some water, and also the video sizes get very large after 15 minutes. It seems to grow exponentially, and I don't want to end up uploading 4 to 5 gigs of videos a day. Currently, I'm already uploading 2.5 gigs, and that takes a toll on my upload speed. Can't play StarCraft while I am also encoding as well. So yeah, that's about 6 to 8 hours that I can't do anything. Anyways, we have an SCV now making its way down the ramp in order to do some early scouting, and we'll end up stopping here. So this may be a 12 racks over here on the low ramp. And this is something that's seen more often against, I would say, with Protoss done earlier, but now no, instead it is going to be a 12 racks over here on the low ramp. And now, interestingly enough, we have a second SCV out. So that is that SCV? No, the SCV is just coming strictly into this location. So we are going to have a double. We're going to move into a 14 racks. That means we are not going to be getting a gas anytime soon. And we may see mass marine push coming out from Wacomm against Liquid Red. We do see Red has decided to not go for an early hatchery, and instead went for a spawning pool and extractor. So the extractor will allow him to get that metabolic boost before the spawning pool is, or right as the spawning pool is ready, and then have those Zerglings out much earlier. We do see one drone now trying to make its way around. However, the one barracks is already done, and now you see an SCV trying to fight back one drone. The drone does have a little bit less life, but it did also get that one tick of regeneration. So I believe that SCV would have actually barely survived, maybe by about a half a hit or about 5 hit points, just because the drone would not have been able to get that last hit in. Back over here, we now see a supply depot being placed down. So it is going to be a double rack with a supply depot here, and I have not seen this opening before. Quite interested to see what's going to be happening here. We do see double drones now on patrol here, making sure that there are no bunkers being placed down. So those drones being very careful by Liquid Red, wants to make sure that no Marines, no SCVs are able to come into that position. And now we have Zerglings by Red. Red is now going to try to perhaps go on the offensive. However, we should be seeing a bunker placed down here in just a moment. Taking a look, we finally do have one refinery up, but only having one SCV on that gas so far. We see another supply depot being placed down here, so really trying to make a very narrow choke point. And with 4 Marines, should be able to hold off 4 Zerglings very easily, especially as those Zerglings will not be able to get us around. Making its way down, we should be seeing perhaps a hatchery being built over here at the low ground expansion sometime soon. We are finally getting up to 300 minerals, and now we finally see a drone in transition there. Zerglings now going to try to test the waters. An SCV on patrol in between those buildings there, being very careful to not allow any Zerglings to squeeze by into that location as Marines dance back and forth. So those Zerglings really not able to do anything so far, as we now finally get a bunker into this position here. Marines will be able to move out, will be able to shoo away those Zerglings. Zerglings do not want to try to test the waters, as there's just simply too many Marines at this stage in the game. There are a lot of Zerglings over here by Red. Red being doing a very good job of making sure that if these early Zerglings are taken down, he has enough Zerglings in order to do a counterattack very quickly. And now we see an expansion coming in from Wacomm. So Wacomm getting an expansion on his low ground, and will be able to keep up with the Zerg's expansion so far. We now see perhaps, what is this SCV doing? Not quite sure so far. Setting up another bunker. So what this will allow him to do is, it will be very difficult even for a Baneling bus to effectively work. If a Baneling bus even takes down these buildings here, they still have to do another run by and take down this bunker, which will allow for additional range upgrades on those Marines. Marines will also be able to deal damage towards Banelings right before they get within that splash radius here. We do see Zerglings now coming down over here to destroy these destructible rocks, and we may have a drone, yes, setting up another hatchery on the high ground. So Red going and making sure that he is consistently above in the economic game. And this is going to be a problem for the Terran player. The Terran player, he is currently turtling up very, very effectively, does have his second base, but Liquid Red staying on top of things, taking up his third base as well, taking down these rocks as this one hatchery is currently being built, and we're going to see a very, very strong economic game coming in from Liquid Red. Back over here, we do see a tech lab now finally being placed down, and also an engineering bay. We'll see if we're going to get the weapons upgrade or if we're going to go for anything else, perhaps. I believe we saw factory. Oh no, we're going to get siege tech now, so it's going to be siege tank and siege tech. And Overlord was able to sneak by and able to get sight into the base, sees that there is a factory, and now knows that perhaps he's getting a large amount of gas there. We do also see the Overlord. The Overlord does see that there is the refinery here and an orbital command. Taking a look at the production tab now, we are going into the third hatchery, as I talked about earlier, the Baneling's Nest. A lot of Zerglings and Overlords as well. Excuse me as I get a drink of water. So we have Zerglings now down here, Creep Tumors also being laid down. So Liquid Red just doing a very, very good job realizing that a turtling Terran is always a Zerg player's dream if he knows how to expand. And Liquid Red now expanding into this location will be able to get a lot of minerals very, very easily. A Terran player should take down these backdoor rocks at some time and try to take down this expansion here. We do see a siege tank over here able to take down a lot of Zerglings with just one attack there. And now all those Zerglings except one is now just sitting in this location waiting for the Terran player to make a move. I like the positioning on Liquid Red's Overlord here. This Overlord will allow him to gain sight on these mineral patches here, and when he gains sight on this, he will know if Wacomm is taking up a third base. The game may just simply become a large macro game, as both players are simply sitting in their blaze playing Sims StarCraft. Taking a look at the income of Liquid Red sitting at 1600 versus the the income of Wacomm. Wacomm does have, no, he does not have any mules currently called down, so he did throw down a couple of scanner sweeps in order to gain sight in this base. However, he really does not know what's happening so far. He does not know about this hatchery. He has to perhaps guess it, but he really does not know about this hatchery either. He does not know how far behind he is economically speaking. And now we see a command center and Marines trying to take down these rocks here. This will allow him to move some SCVs onto this high ground. However, it will expose him once again to a very, very wide choke point here. So how's that all going to work out? One Overlord down over here was taken down earlier, so he will not be able to continue to get sight onto this particular mineral patch. We are getting another factory placed down here, so production wise we are now going into double factory and one starport with a reactor. Back here we now see some Zergling play, and right now Wacomm needs to perhaps go for something else. We do also see an Overseer wandering around on the inside of the base, able to get a lot of information. The Overseer needs to get the heck out of there though, as Marines are now going to simply be able to go underneath it and very, very easily take down that one particular Overseer as it tried to drop a changeling. And now we also see Wacomm currently supply locked at 94 over 94, needs to get some additional supply depots. We'll be able to get a command center up in just a moment, and that should offer him enough supply to unsupply lock him for a little bit of time. SCV now making its way over. We are getting the level 2 weapons upgrade, so those Marines are very strong army wise. You can see that the Terran player is sitting at 2000 compared to 1575. And now this is a problem for the Terran player. Oh, I accidentally hit B. The Terran player needs to do something about do some harassment of some sort. He does have the reactors on the starport, and he does have those medevacs. So those medevacs with Marines would be able to perhaps do some harassment here, do some tactical drops and pickups in order to just slow down the mass macro play of Liquid Red. Really, Wacomm is playing very, very defensively, and this is really hurting him. He has no sight whatsoever. He does not know about anything that's happening on the south side of the base at all. Meanwhile, Liquid Red has been doing a good job keeping track of expansions, suiciding Overlords in order, and Overseers in order to gain at least some strategy and some insight into the base of Wacomm so far. And now we see a couple Mutalisks in play. Production unit wise, we currently have 4 Mutalisks, 2 more Mutalisks currently being trained, 3 more Mutalisks in addition to the level 1 weapons upgrade on that air attack. Zerglings hiding out over here, perhaps waiting to see if there's going to be any aggression here. And now Liquid Red taking up a 4th base. So Liquid Red taking up a 4th base will be able to just continue to mine much more quickly. We do see that there is an Overlord here and an Overlord here generating creep, and will be able to gain sight if he tries to take any of these island expansions. An Overlord slowly making its way in, perhaps trying to see if there are any missile turrets here, and if whether or not any Mutalisk harassment will be effective. Back into the game here, still Mutalisk continue to be masked up production wise. One more Mutalisk, a lot of Zerglings being trained, trying to run straight in. There is one missile turret here, another missile turret here, but there is no range upgrade or armor upgrade on those missile turrets, so they will be relatively easy to get taken down. And another missile turret also being placed down as well. And I'm just really not understanding what exactly Wacomm is doing at this stage in the game. He is sitting on his base and sitting on his larger army advantage so far, or he had a larger army advantage. Now trickily trying to come in, quickly dealing a lot of damage towards one of those Mutalisks. SCV is trying to repair another one over here, but that quickly will get taken down as well. Another missile turret just out of range. Marines going to get in here, and now Liquid Red will be able to start producing a lot of Mutalisks and use the high mobility of Zerg in order to just deal a lot of damage relatively quickly. So these Mutalisks just flocking around over here. We do see a siege tanks over here, and there is a Zelnaga watchtower. So this one hatchery by Liquid Red, which was trying to be masked, not going to be effective as more Mutalisks trying to come in over here. But there are now submarines. Those Marines are upgraded to 1, so those are going to be able to shoot down those Mutalisks out of the sky relatively quickly, as they deal 8 damage instead of 6, especially as those Mutalisks do not have any armor upgrades, and those Mutalisks do not want to try to engage against this group of Marines right here. Back over here, Mutalisk now once again on the move, perhaps going to try to hit the main base here, but there are a lot of missile turrets, and this is going to become a little bit of a problem if those missile turrets just deal enough damage. However, now going after the reactor, Marines are trying to get underneath. Those Marines will be able to deal some damage towards those Mutalisks, and those Mutalisks, 2 of them, 3 of them taken down, and all at the cost of 1 reactor. So a nice trade there by Wacomm. Wacomm able to just focus down a couple of those Mutalisks, take them down, and now 300 losses for just 150. And you can see the losses for Liquid Red are a little bit higher, but I do not think Liquid Red really cares, as his production is much higher. And now we're seeing a Nidus network. Nidus network in addition to an infestation pit, just a mere 16 minutes into this game. So it's going to be a very, very large array of units coming in from the Zerg player, and this is where the Zerg really shines as a race. Running off of just multiple hatcheries, you are able to produce any units and just train up a lot of units. Whatever the Terran player tries to throw at you, you just use your larva and produce the proper counter unit, and you are fine. We do see Thors in play, so those Thors are getting the level 2 weapons upgrade for those units in order to be able to double shot those Mutalisks. But those Mutalisks are currently just wandering around the map in the different locations, and now we see some SCVs coming off the mineral line in order to be able to deal damage towards this one Nidus worm. And we also see some Marines coming in as well. Mutalisks trying to come in, trying to deal some damage towards those SCVs. SCVs quickly are able to take that down, and now we also see a Thor here. So we are now currently going into Hive Tech, getting another hatchery. The Terran player is getting another command center here, may decide to try to lift it off into this location. However, Liquid Red will quickly be able to find that out in just a moment, as some Marines also make their way over as well. Army-wise, 5950 for the Terran player, 5200, but the Terran player also has level 3 infantry upgrades currently being researched as well. Mutalisk is still flying around the map, trying to get as much information, as much sight, and that is a lot of missile turrets back over here. No upgrades on these missile turrets. However, these Mutalisks will be able to deal a lot of damage. Oh, the command center did not want to lift off, just wanting to build it over here and then plant it here as that creep slowly receded. Marines now making their way over. A lot of Zerglings, a lot of Banelings. Those Zerglings also have the level 2 armor upgrades, so those Banelings will also take reduced damage. However, the siege tank will be able to blast or single shot any of those Banelings, and those Zerglings are ready, as they're dealing 41 damage per attack. Marines once again on the move, medevacs in the air, doing a great job. And now there's my timer, so stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Liquid Red and Wacomm here on Steps of War.